Shakuntala Devi, the Human Computer Vertical Bar. Life Story. Opening music plus channel intro animation. Hello everyone! Welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Kushnuma, and today we're diving into the brilliant, complex, and fascinating life of a woman who stunned the world with her mind. Shakuntala Devi, famously known as the Human Computer. But Shakuntala Devi wasn't just a mathematical genius. She was also an author, an astrologer, a social thinker, and a fearless voice in Indian society. So stay tuned till the end as we explore her life, her legacy, and the lesser-known truths that made her so extraordinary. Shakuntala Devi was born on November 4th, 1929, in Bangalore, India, into a humble family. Her father was a circus performer. Yes, a trapeze artist and magician. And that played an unusual role in her early discovery. At just 3 years old, little Shakuntala was solving card tricks and puzzles. By the age of 5, she was calculating square roots in her head. Her father quickly realized she had an extraordinary gift. She never received a formal education. That's right, Shakuntala Devi was self-taught. She couldn't even attend school because her family couldn't afford it. But her brain, it was her biggest university. Her mathematical skills were not just impressive, they were almost supernatural. She began performing publicly from a very young age, showing off her calculation abilities on stage. Audiences were stunned as she multiplied massive numbers or gave the 23rd root of huge figures in seconds, all without a calculator, of course. In 1977, at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, she extracted the 23rd root of a 201-digit number in just 50 seconds. It took a computer over a minute to verify her answer. And in 1980, she multiplied two 13-digit numbers in 28 seconds, earning her a place in the Guinness Book of World Records. Shakuntala Devi toured the world from Europe to the US, Africa to Asia, amazing mathematicians, students, and scholars everywhere. She wasn't just a performer. She collaborated with leading academics and even studied the limits of human computation. In 1988, she wrote the book, Figuring the Joy of Numbers, helping everyday people fall in love with math. But there was more to Shakuntala Devi than just numbers. She was a prolific author, writing books on mathematics, puzzles, astrology, and even cookbooks. But perhaps her most surprising work was a book called The World of Homosexuals, published in 1977. Yes, 1977. This was India's first study on homosexuality, a bold, empathetic book written decades before LGBTQ+ rights became a mainstream conversation in the country. The book explored real-life stories and advocated for understanding and acceptance. Many don't know this, but Shakuntala was inspired to write this because of her own personal life. She was briefly married to a man who later came out as gay. Despite her fame, Shakuntala Devi faced challenges. In a world dominated by male scientists and scholars, she had to work extra hard to be taken seriously. She was often misunderstood. Some called her an entertainer rather than a scholar, but she kept going. She carved her own space and proudly remained independent, intellectually and financially. In her later years, she also dabbled in politics, running for parliament in 1980, though unsuccessfully. Her campaign focused on social justice, women's rights, and education. Shakuntala Devi was a single mother and incredibly devoted to her daughter. She believed in living life on her own terms, whether it was love, parenting, or numbers. She passed away on April 21, 2013, in Bangalore at the age of 83. But her legacy lives on, not just in books and records, but in hearts and minds she inspired. In 2020, Shakuntala Devi's life was brought to the big screen in a biopic starring Vidya Balan. The film portrayed her as a genius, a mother, a rebel, and above all human. It reminded us that Shakuntala Devi wasn't just a whiz with numbers. She was a woman who lived courageously, challenged norms, and thought decades ahead of her time. Shakuntala Devi once said, "Numbers have life. They're not just symbols on paper." But perhaps her own life was the greatest number of all. Rich, layered, mysterious, and full of magic. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below and tell us, which part of Shakuntala Devi's life inspired you the most? Until next time, I'm Kushnuma, and this was your journey into the life of a true genius. Stay curious,